The Tory and Labour leaders also took questions from voters, and it was audience member Robert who had arguably the best question.
Mr Sunak, I think you made a fair job of being Chancellor, but you're a pretty mediocre Prime Minister. Sir Keir, I think that your strings are being pulled by very senior members of the Labour Party. Are you two really the best we've got to be the next Prime Minister of our great country?
Yeah, one of those knock-down, drag-out questions, wasn't it? There's no answer to that, almost.
No, and I felt like this. I mean, they're both capable operators, and they're both, if this is an interview by a headhunter, to be the chief executive of UK PLC, then they're both doing a reasonably, good job. But we want a bit more than that out of politicians. We want somebody with a sort of drive and a vision and a passion and a connection. And that's where, for all his faults, Boris Johnson had something, Tony Blair had something. It's very special. These people don't grow on trees.
Mr Sunak and Sir Keir were at times drowned out by pro-Palestine activists outside Nottingham Trent University, which is the venue for the BBC debate. And it got so bad that the host, Michelle Hussein, had to stop and address the noise.
I also think leadership means being straight with people. It means having the courage of your convictions.
His Chancellor has said that the money he's relying on has already been spent. It is also about dignity and respect. And my dad worked in a factory all his life. He was a tool maker. And having a secure job for him was really important to his respect and integrity.
I do want to turn to the next question because lots of people are waiting and they've got important questions that they would like answers to. If you can hear any noises off, ladies and gentlemen, or anyone at home, there is a protest taking place outside, which is also an aspect of our democracy and people exercising their freedom of speech.
Yeah, it was a bit off-putting, that's all. Wasn't it?
No.
You don't mind it?
No, I don't mind it. And I think it was quite telling that it was happening on in the background. And I wonder why we didn't have a question actually put to the senior leaders about that.
Because it was Gaza they were protesting on.
Yeah, and I think we've seen the marches for months now, and the presence has been something that we shouldn't be ignoring. There are people out there who have significant concerns. And just in general, the wider picture here is about, well, what is our strategy, our military strategy on a world scale? We talk all the time about funding, don't we, in terms of the military? But do we actually understand where we are in terms of our military strategy?
OK, welcome back. We're live on Channel 5 with Guto and Paula. Later, we're asking if junior doctor strikes in the days before the election are just a step too far. First, who convinced you in the last debate between Sunak and Starmer before the election? So it was last night. 0207 862 2222 is the number. It's only a week until polls open, and last night the Tory and Labour leaders clashed on a range of topics in the final bid to win your vote. First, the pair went head-to-head over getting people back to work and off benefits.
What is wrong, if you believe it is wrong, what Rishi Sunak is saying, that if someone is offered a job and they can do that job and they turn it down, that's wrong?
No, there's nothing wrong with that, and I just want to address Beverly's point.
You opposed it when I announced it. You literally opposed it.
If you listen to people in the audience across the country more often, you might not be quite so out of touch. Beverly.
Oof, then it was on to the issue of small boats.
Because they're not being processed, they cannot be returned to where they came from. Can they, Prime Minister? If he wants to correct that, now's his chance to do it.
They cannot be returned. Well, do you know where these people come from?
No, he's not answering the question.
Do you know where they come from? Iran,
you can see.
Syria, Afghanistan. So when Keir Starmer says he's going to return people, is he going to sit down? Are you going to sit down with the Iranian ayatollahs? Are you going to try and do a deal with the Taliban? It's completely nonsensical what you are saying, right? You are taking people for fools.
And then there was this spiky exchange where Mr Sunak challenged Sir Keir over taxes and whether pensions could be affected.
We're going to have the triple lock plus, but for the millions of pensioners that are watching, be very worried because you're going to face a retirement tax under the Labour Party.
Falsehoods. Just don't insult people by putting out falsehoods. You mentioned
which
the
one,
IFS.
which one's the false?
He keeps saying we're going to raise taxes.
Sorry, Keir Starmer, can you confirm?
He obviously has put a bet on interrupting me, hasn't he?
Will the state pension be subject to income tax under a future Labour government? The only way for it not is for you to match our triple lock plus.
He can promise
for the
10,
first time in our
20
country's
tax
history,
cuts. He can't
pensioners
tell us how
are going to
he's
be paying tax because he won't match our triple lock plus. If I'm your Prime Minister, that won't happen.
Yeah, I mean, Sunak over the last few days has got more salty, hasn't he? There's a bit more of a sense of I'm in this for the fight.
Yeah, I think that was a very feisty and a decent performance. And he's taking the fight to a guy who thinks that he can become Prime Minister without winning the argument, that he just glides in there saying, oh, you've had enough of these Tories.
We might be able to.
But he's imitating the Tories. Virtually everything he's offering that is vaguely making him more acceptable is, like the Tories, I won't put up your taxes. Like the Tories, I won't take you back into Europe. Like the Tories, I won't, I hate immigration as well.
Two-child benefit cap.
Yeah,
that's another classic.
All of that. But actually, it was good to see Rishi Sunak. It's at that stage where the odds are now that the game is lost. So you might as well just show you that you're a good player. And,
what do you think, Paula?
And he could turn it.
What do you think of the exchanges there?
I mean, Rishi, even from the first leadership debate, I did find Rishi quite combative, which I was uncomfortable with because I didn't feel that was his natural style. And I got the impression that Rishi's very much been advised on how to come across. Whereas I get the impression that Keir, what we're seeing from Keir, is Keir. That's who he is. And that, for me, has travelled throughout. It's not right that Labour are essentially mirroring the Conservatives' policies. We are seeing Labour, with Rachel Reeves, saying very clearly, actually, we are going to put up some of our taxes. And we know that the 5-year policy that Labour have had in place, re-VAT on private schools, is going to come into effect. So I'm very concerned about...
The pension thing is he's got Starmer's taking a bit of a dent from that, isn't he? There is a promise that pensioners won't pay income tax on their state pension, but it's the Conservatives making. Why doesn't Labour just say, OK, we'll do the same?
Why don't they both tell the truth about taxes, which is they will both need to increase taxes in order for our lives to get better?
Really?
If we want our potholes refilled, if we want our state workers, our public workers to be properly paid, if we want all of that to be effective, they're going to have to put up taxes.
But they're already at a 75-year high, so I don't know. Who won the debate? Rob in Cumbria. You tell us.
Good morning. I think Sunak won the debate quite convincingly. I think Starmer struggled to come back to Sunak's claims of taxes, migration. I think Starmer seems to go off on a tangent and wants to answer his questions that hasn't been put to him. It's strange. I think it's possibly insulting to the audience members and the public, but people want to know whether the taxes are going to get put up. People want to know, they want answers from Starmer.
They may do the thing where they say they come in and we had this in 2010 with the Conservatives where they say we've had a look and they've left no money at all. So I suspect we'll get most of the announcements after the election, won't we? That's when we're going to hear.
Yeah, you're right about nobody being honest here. The reason taxes are high under the Conservatives is not 14 years of economic mismanagement. It's a thing called a global pandemic where we shut down the entire economy for 2 years pretty much, or it was under par for a long, long time. And that takes a toll, and it takes a toll on the NHS as well, and we're paying the price for that.
But people say no, it's not. It's because after the massive financial crash, you got a choice. You either hose money in and try and get us all working again, or you just follow the money downwards and you bring in austerity and you don't spend. And we seem to have suffered a lot under austerity. It may be we just can't afford the style of living that we want with the taxes we pay.
It's some of us who have suffered under austerity and some of us who have actually made significant wealth out of austerity, and I think that is the issue. I think if it was about us all being in it together, we perhaps wouldn't have this issue, which is quite frankly, I know that Rob says he thought that Rishi came across as better, but here we have a man who has raised taxes and is then telling us to our face, he's not going to raise any more taxes, when we all know that he's going to need to raise taxes. He's going to have to do that.
Well, at some point, the economy won't take any more taxes. That's the thing. I just don't know at what point you stop. Henrietta in County Down, hi.
Hello.
Who won last night?
I watched a bit of it last night. I wouldn't be able to choose between them. I think possibly for the last two generations, we're hit with two people who are both stunningly good politicians, both, but in achievements, what they've actually done in office, in their various offices, and their prior achievements. I mean, Mr. Starmer's a QC. You don't get that for nothing. They've both done it on their own merit. Mr. Sunak's achievement is that he steered a very calm ship, and he's kept the country on track without blowing whatever's left in the coffers. I think that I would be hard put to choose between them, and I think it's very, very sad that they're up against each other.
So the guy who
either
kind
of
of
them would
stood
do
up,
the job.
the guy who stood up and basically insulted them both by saying, "We've got are you two the best we've got." You don't agree with that?
I think we're very lucky to have either of them.
That's interesting. Well, I mean, it's heartening that you think there are still good people going into politics. Because, of course, this is one of the things we come back to the whole time, is where are the good people going?
It's a thankless task. Who would go into politics for a massive pay cut for most people who are capable of getting anywhere near cabinet, not to mention number 10, to have their entire lives scrutinised, to be treated like scumbags, to be told that their motives are completely wrong all the time? We are lucky to get the quality of the people that we have on both sides of the and also unlucky to have the low quality of some others.
Thanks, Henrietta. Angela in Gloucestershire, can you tell us who you think won last night?
Hello, good morning, everybody. I think Rishi won. Rishi Sunak, he's tops for me. He won that debate mainly, in my opinion, on the immigration point, which is a big point for us. We're also pensioners. I don't trust Starmer. He's bullying. He's a sop. He's an unknown quantity, and I'm not falling for it. I wouldn't trust him to walk my dog, quite frankly. But
what about the point? So Rishi Sunak made this point that if you want to have an arrangement to return people, you will literally have to do a deal with the Taliban.
Well, yes, I thought that was a good point. I thought he put that over well, and I don't think Starmer can answer it, because he's right. Starmer is not going to reduce the amount of people coming into our country illegally. He never is going to do that. Nobody has really done it yet. So I just think he's bullying. I think, and what we want to remember, the public, the voting public, is that it's not the Conservatives that have done badly by not stopping immigration, illegal immigration. It's the House of Lords who stopped every single try that he's tried.
The Rwanda thing and all that. Yeah.
Yes, and the do-gooders. They keep on and on and on. They're not
do-gooders. I wonder if you might be a do-gooder, Paula.
I think, Angela, you would probably cast me as a do-gooder. Angela, I want to understand something. When Rishi Sunak and the government, the Conservative government, they cancelled all legal routes by which you could claim asylum or come into this country from certain countries. They cancelled all of those. So it isn't possible anymore unless you're under specific programmes, for example, the Ukraine programme or the Hong Kong programme. You cannot apply legally to come into this country. You have no other option. And I'm just wondering whether you think that immigration is being used as a tool to get your vote without you then focusing on why your potholes are so bad in the road, why you can't get an NHS.
OK, well, let's let Angela answer that.
Well, firstly, potholes, Gloucestershire, where I live, is usually a testing ground for suspensions, so don't tell me about potholes. But, no, I think Rishi has won it. I've cast my vote. I've already cast my vote by post because we're away. But no, as for the immigration thing and getting in the legal route, don't you think that maybe he's one of the many, many people in this country that think that we've taken as many as we can? It's not the fact that they come here. We want them to come here to work and pay taxes. We don't want them to come here and bring 20 members of their family, do we?
Angela, I've got to take my break, but thank you very much. Just a couple of minutes on the ads, and then we will be back. There was a poll. We got a poll over here. I saw this, and I thought it was a misprint. So 1,700 people were asked to watch the debate and then tell YouGov who won. and this is the crucial phrase, leaving aside their own party preference. And it's 50-50. And the other response here is 47-47, but that's kind of same basic voters involved. So 50-50, I think if you're Keir Starmer, you'd take that. That's like it's like the England draw against Slovenia.
Yeah, I mean...
You think you know you're going through.
That reflects what your earlier caller, Henrietta, was saying about actually how they are both really two good politicians. And what we saw was a great...
No, I'm sorry. I mean, okay.
That's what the polls are telling
us.
Well,
they may be extremely high-caliber individuals. Sunak has made a lot of money. And he's married someone who's made him richer than the king. I don't know if we praise him for that.
Don't hold it against him.
We don't hold it against him.
Don't hold it against him.
Get it.
But 50-50, this just shows that if people actually take a rational decision on polling day, it will be a lot closer. The problem is that it's all swirled into, but there's no point voting Tories, they've lost, they're so far behind, and 14 years and all. It's all turned into an irrational, emotional thing. When you break it down and you say, who do you want in charge for the next 5 years, it's a lot closer. And I
think if the Tories get more than 150 seats, Sunak will be told he's made the best of a very difficult situation. So he's trying to avoid wipeout here because that's what the polls tell him down the track.
Yeah, but I think that question actually is a Brexit question. You know, who did best? Was it Rishi or was it Keir? When actually, when we go to vote, it's about the policies. And this is what worries me about a poll like that, that's saying that they're coming out roughly the same. Their policies are not the same. The parties are not the same. And if we continue to push this, that they're all the same, it's that I'm not going to bother voting.
Let's take a look at more from the exchanges last night. This is Keir and Rishi Sunak. Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak clashing over whether Labour or the Tories could deliver tax cuts.
You don't think my approach is the right one. You are going to have higher welfare under you, and that's why you can't deliver tax cuts the way that I can. And people should not surrender to this.
The Prime Minister says he's going to do all these things. They've been in power for 14 years. Why has he only just thought of this with a week to go before the general election? Honestly, if there's that much wrong with the system, who's the guy in charge of the system over the last 14 years? Why is it so bad?
Well, you want to be in charge, but you've got nothing to say to people about what you would do about it.
So there we go. They are almost sort of quite ring ready now, aren't they? The two of them, they've been in the ring together before and they're realising how to fight each other, and you're seeing now probably the best of all the debates. Barry in Suffolk, who won?
Definitely Starmer. Definitely Jeremy.
All right, so you wouldn't agree with the poll we showed you, which was 50-50?
No, well, I don't agree with it. I believe it. I don't agree with it. Shall I tell you what I think about last night's debate?
Please.
Rishi Sunak, he came across as very, very angry, very desperate. He's a man who I think, has lost this election, and he'll throw everything, the kitchen sink, everything, at Starmer, everything. He came across so angry. I've never seen anyone like that. I don't think he should be the Prime Minister. I don't think he should be a politician, not with that sort of attitude. That really annoyed me. It really did.
It is, yeah. I know. Well, I mentioned that earlier here, that he seems to, someone's put some salt on his cornflakes, and he looks like... My mother-in-law always used to say he swallowed a wasp. But, I mean, he needs to fight, Barry.
I know it's a fight, but you didn't get that from Sir Keir Starmer. He was very composed. Yes, he got a little bit angry a couple of times, but most of the time he was calm. He had his thoughts. And, he came across more compassionate. I don't think Sunak's got any compassion in him at all. He's just all talk. He's a very desperate man.
All right, Barry.
Desperate. And
thanks so much.
Next week he's going to be really upset.
Well, he might, because he knows he'll get the blame for it. Tom in Manchester, hi.
Hi, morning. 100% Sunak. I can't believe people would actually even entertain voting for sitting on the fence Starmer. It's clear there's no plan. He's just, strung his way through policy after policy, backing down, changing his mind. There's no plan. He just wants to get into number 10. I mean, Sunak has been given a rough time, like that lady Angela said, we've had COVID to come through and recover from. I think people should give Sunak a break. He's got the inflation rates come down and whatnot. He knows what he's doing, does Sunak. I don't think we're in current climate to be changing leadership, to be honest, and I don't think Starmer's up to it.
OK, Tom, thank you. Linda in Cheshire, who won?
Me personally, I think Keir Starmer. The point I'm making, because I was really annoyed, Rishi Sunak goes on and on about Labour taxing pensioners.
Yeah.
I have got a partner at 83, and because personal allowance has been frozen, don't tell me Labour are going to be taxing pensioners. We've received a bill this year for £81 tax on her pension. So I wish someone, because there has to be other pensioners in this country, they're being taxed now. So don't tell me Labour are going to start taxing pensioners.
It's a very good point. £81. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a good point, actually. If I was Starmer, I think I'd say, look, you guys have made it a situation. You earn about £1,000 in the private pension. You're getting taxed on that. So he has got a comeback he didn't use. Thank you for that call. Anthony in London, who won? Hey, Anthony. Come on, join us, my friend. Well done. You there? Oh, I don't know. I think maybe the line's gone. It might even be our fault, Anthony. Sorry about that. So, OK, we discussed it. We reckon it was 50-50. People came in on either side. Are we pleased? OK, two things quickly. Are we pleased there isn't going to be another debate? Or would you like another one?
I'm pleased there's not going to be another one. We've
had enough.
We've waited a year too long for this election. It needs to happen.
Is it going to be annoying that if Labour win, we're going to have a Prime Minister who's a Sir? Because I don't think we've had that in my lifetime. And I don't think he likes it, actually. He'd rather be Mr., wouldn't he?
Do you know, fun fact, only 4 people since the Second World War have won an election for the Labour Party. They've all been white, heterosexual men. They've all been privately educated. They've all done part of their education at Oxford, and 3 out of 4 were barristers. So you can have any kind of leader of the Labour Party that takes you into a winning election, as long as he's a white, heterosexual male who's privately educated, Oxbridge, and trained at the bar. And that's the truth about Keir.
All right.
Steady, Guto, you're sounding woke.